Hi everybody, welcome back. Tony again here with Shinsho Yoga. And for this week's video, I would like to talk about what is advanced yoga. What is the concept of advanced yoga? And this comes from a conversation I just had recently with a viewer who had commented on one of my videos, and he had let me know about his challenges that he had with the posture that I was offering and how he modified it, and had a little discussion with him, and he told me about some of the issues that he had with some chronic issues, and that how he still had to do, still practiced and exercised and just modified as needed. And I told him that is the advanced form of yoga. So, most people are probably going to think advanced yoga is when you see someone standing on their head in the middle of the street for whatever period of time, or they are getting into contortionary binds, right? They've pulled their self into this posture that just looks unreal, and you go, oh, that's advanced yoga. No, not really. A lot of those people that get into those types of things could naturally do that. They don't necessarily need a whole lot of training to do that. And then there's going to be people in the world that it doesn't matter how much training they have, they're just not going to get into that because their body isn't built that way. But that's not what yoga's about. What we do in yoga in the West, and I've mentioned this before in videos and in classes I do, is only one limb of yoga, right? It's only one auxiliary, one part of it. They always talk about the 8 limbs of yoga. Well, that's in Hatha yoga, which is the primary type of yoga in the West. In India, throughout the centuries, there was multiple different styles of yoga with multiple different auxiliaries attached to them. And the physical practice, what we call asana, was only part of a couple styles of yoga. Hatha yoga, Raja yoga. They're the only ones that had a physical practice of asana. A lot of them didn't. What we do in the West here in our practice, in most studios, is strictly asana, the physical practice. And because of that, it's become just an exercise for a lot of places. A lot of gyms offer yoga and refer to it in the industry as gym yoga. They're not offering any of the philosophical, the spiritual, the meditative aspects of it. They're just offering the physical release of the practice, and depending on what level it is, whether it's more of an aerobic style or more of a gentle style, but they're not offering what yoga really is, and that's limiting the medicine to only a very small amount. And yoga is an all-encompassing practice. It's a spirituality. That's what it was. And just because we do asana, though, doesn't mean that you can't incorporate all the rest of it. It's all interconnected. So when practicing yoga, it's really about, there's a lot of things it's about. This is not one thing. But one of the things it's about is learning who you are. Removing all those layers of the onion that have been put on you by society over the years, the conditioning you learned as a child, the damage passed down from generation to generation. You, in yoga, remove all of that, shed those skins, peel that onion to release the real you, who you are, to be authentic, to be genuine, right? And to be an integral part of the world, giving and receiving, right? It's a spirituality. And the physical practice, we look to do that, but we do it in more of a physical manner. Now, if your only goal in the physical practice is to be able to contort yourself into some really complicated position, then you're missing the point. The point isn't to do that. The point is every day in your practice, when you practice yoga, which should be an everyday practice, that doesn't mean every day you're running a class, but it's about a mindset, right? That as you practice your yoga, you are living genuinely, you are living authentically, you're understanding the interconnectedness of all in the world, and being the best that you can be for that day. And your best changes every day, as it will in your yoga practice. When you come to your mat, when you go to your class, or if you're practicing at home or wherever it is, when you do that, whatever your best is for that day. Maybe your best is for that day to go on and you get into some bind you could never get into before. Or maybe you've never been able to stand on your head before, And all of a sudden you can. Or maybe a balancing posture, say like dancers or half moon. It's very challenging for you and you always fall over and boom, today you're in it. Or maybe just something as simple as pyramid pose and you don't all of a sudden have to use blocks. For me, because the way my legs work, if I don't have to use blocks in a pyramid pose and I can fully fold into it, I'm like, oh my God, right? That's advanced for me for that day. Right? But it's knowing where you are that day and moving to the best you can. Right? So maybe that day you can't, let's say in pyramid pose, not use blocks. Right? So you use them. And you do the best you can for your posture that day. And maybe the next time in class, all of a sudden the back of your leg is open and you can do that. Maybe in the class, 1 week you are able to get into a full bind of a posture, but the next week you have to do the modified pose because your body just doesn't happen to be there, right? That's the advanced form of that, but one step further than just the physical is what are you doing here? It always comes back to what are you doing here? Are you breathing? Are you following your breath? Are you letting the thoughts arise? Are you allowing them to pass by? Are you coming back to the moment? Are you present in your moment on the mat for the whole time? That is the highest level. Because that means wherever your body is that day, you are fully aware. You modify as needed, right? You do what is the best for your body that day. Maybe that means that during the most vigorous part of the class, you have to take child's pose. You can't keep up. Maybe, again, I'm an asthmatic, right? Sometimes my lungs, most of the time, my lungs don't work right. Sometimes it can be too vigorous and I have to rest. You are aware. You are present in the moment of what you're doing, and you know that's what you need at that moment. And then you come back and finish the practice. Maybe that day in the practice where the teacher says, and if you want to take an extra chaturanga dandasana or a sun A, roll through your vinyasa, and you go, yep, I'm absolutely rolling through it. I'm hopping back. I'm rolling forward. I'm rolling back. I'm hopping through, right? You're doing all that stuff, and maybe that day, maybe the next day you're not. It's having the awareness of where you are and being present in that moment and making the modifications as necessary so you are successfully practicing your practice. Not how well you did in the posture. Not how well you did from last week to this week. Not how well you did from last year to this year. I teach yoga. And if you want to look at it that way, my highest level of practice was when I came out of teacher training because I was practicing all the time. And now with teaching, I have to find times to practice. If that was where it was with how well I did in the postures of not having to use props and am I getting into full binds anymore, this and that, I couldn't teach. But it's not about that. It's about what you do here. Are you breathing? Are you following your breath? Are you letting your thoughts arise? Are you letting them pass by? You're turning to the breath. Are you holding on to things? Are you being pulled into the past and getting depressed? Are you being pulled into the future and getting anxious? Or are you staying present in the moment? That is the highest form of yoga. That is the goal, right? I say goal, of course, in quotes, because the goal of yoga is the practice of yoga. Always. We just practice. Some days you're Gumby, some days you're the Tin Man. It doesn't matter. You put in your best effort and you practice. And your best effort is only known to you. Whatever that honest effort for today is, only you know that. And if you lie about it, who are you lying to? Not your teacher, not the person on the mat next to you. You're lying to yourself. So if you're lying to yourself, come back and be truthful to yourself and put in your honest effort. If that means modifying, if that means going a little further, or maybe it means staying where you were from the prior week. That's the highest form of yoga. Not how complex a posture you can do and how contorted you can make your body. It's what you do here. Right? Are you not judging yourself? Are you not judging the others? Are you just staying present in the moment and breathing? You do that, you're practicing advanced yoga. Trust me on that one. So, as always, I hope that served you. Take from that what serves you and you can get rid of the rest. Don't take from that what's comfortable, though, and get rid of what's uncomfortable, because we often need what is uncomfortable to grow. So, thank you again for watching, and as always, you just let the thoughts arise, pass by, and return to the breath. Namaste.